This was my interview with Zach Wilkerson on February 13th, 2018.
So, you co-wrote Lonely Together Tonight over text. That's what I heard in an interview of yours. Is that true?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Who did you write that with?
With a songwriter named Courtney Patton. And she's married to a guy named Jason Eady, who's an incredible singer-songwriter. They're both incredible singer-songwriters, but yeah.
So when you write, it sounds a lot like a conversation. I think you've mentioned before, too, that that's kind of a comfortable style for you. Have you ever written a duet?
I have not, and that question has come up a few times recently, actually, so that's interesting for you to bring that up. But no, I haven't ever written a duet. I've thought about it, though, yeah.
If you had to write a duet, okay, say you wrote a duet, who would you want to sing with you?
Oh, man, that's a great question. Probably, my first instinct would be my wife. My wife actually sang with me on Lonely Together Tonight and Love Me Like You're Losing Me. So it'd probably be her.
She's got a phenomenal voice.
She does. She really does. And we were both playing music when we met, so it was destined to be from the very start.
And you've been playing music a long time.
I have.
What about her?
She's the same. She picked up music very young. She played piano as a kid and sang as a kid, and kind of like me, just never really quit until she's a professional. She's a professional now. She's a counselor, but she still sings. In fact, the other night I got kicked out of my house. Not kicked out of my house, but kicked out of my den because of my youngest daughter and my wife were working on a song, and they needed some privacy. So, I'm not the only musician in my house.
I just got kicked into my den because I needed to do an interview. And my daughter is 3 and likes to run back and forth through the house. So I said, hey.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Yeah, mine are 10, 12, and 14. So
oh, wow. You got your hands full.
Yeah, well, if you got a 3-year-old, your hands are more full than mine.
Yeah, but I've only got one.
Well, in different ways, yeah.
Right. Mine doesn't like boys yet.
Oh, gosh. I don't even want to get into that yet.
So how do you deal with having a family and being on the road so much?
It's interesting. If I'm not on the road, I'm home. Texas is an incredible place to play music. I live in a town called Killeen, which is about an hour from Austin. So, I can get to Austin in an hour. I can get to Dallas-Fort Worth in 2 hours. I can get to Houston in about 3.5 hours. San Antonio in 2 hours. So it's not that far away. Everything is actually fairly close, and there's a lot of people, spread out down here, and so you can play a lot of music and still be home a lot of nights. And so since we've moved to Central Texas, I guess it's about a year ago that we moved, it's been interesting because if I'm not playing music, I'm home. I'm with my family quite a bit. So it's fun. We've got a nice little rhythm going in my house.
That's great. Do you think Nashville is being replaced by maybe Austin?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Replaced. I don't know if necessarily replaced is a good word. I feel like there's a lot of people in Nashville who've chosen the way that they want to make music, and I think that's just the way it is out there. I honestly haven't been out there to play music in a very, very long time. We're coming up on 20 years at this point. So, I haven't been out there in a long time. So it's hard for me to say exactly what's going on out there. I just know that down in Texas, there are so many people who support live music that live music is still very much a viable career down here. It's crazy.
I talk to a lot of musicians from Texas and musicians that play in Texas. What makes Texas so great?
Well, I mean, I think really just the support from the fans. And I mean, you know, you find it in different ways outside of Texas, obviously. It's not that it's unique. It really is just the sheer amount of people who are willing to and excited to support live music. You know, we have dance halls that are 150, 60 years old, and people still go to the same old dance halls and sit on the same 150-year-old wooden benches, and it's insane how... I'm not even from Texas. I mean, I was born in the panhandle of Oklahoma. I'm from a tiny little farming community. So to be able to visit and see all the cities in Texas and just see how much they support live music, it's really incredible. But that really is just it, just the sheer amount of people who will support it.
So huge fan base down there.
Huge fan base. And loyal. I really can't explain it. I've played music all across the country, and the people that, I mean, damn near religiously support live music is incredible. Because of that, there's so much music down here, because there's people who support it, obviously, so that helps. But there's just so much music that pops up all the time because of the support of the people, and it's, I don't know, it's an interesting little ecosystem, I guess is a good word for it, if that makes sense. The support makes new music. The good music kind of hopefully rises to the top, you know, and it gets to keep going and it keeps getting supported. And then new music keeps getting created because there's an infrastructure, there's a scene down here, you know, which is just incredible. You know, my bass, actually my drummer is actually from Buffalo.
Buffalo, New York. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
And I was telling him, I got this interview with this guy from Rochester. He said, oh yeah, I know where that is. And he said, yeah, man, like there's not really much of a music scene in New York, you know, outside of New York City. And even New York City's music scene it's a whole other animal.
Yeah.
It's a whole other animal. So, you know, he comes it from the aspect of not growing up around this, which I didn't either. I mean, being out there in the middle of nowhere in the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma, I'm not around any of the things that I'm doing these days. You know, I mean, I played music as a kid, but not in the settings that I'm getting to play music now, obviously. So, I mean, even he says it's crazy how much support there is for live music. How many venues, the sheer number of venues and just fan base. It's incredible. It really is. It's unlike any place I've ever seen.
That's awesome. I can't wait to get down there.
Oh, you got to come down. You've never been down here?
No, I've never been south of Virginia.
Oh man, do you have anything in mind of what you'd like to visit down here?
Oh, I'd like to go to Austin.
Yeah, but any specific venues?
I was hoping to be able to get to see Uncle Lucius before they got done, but it's not going to happen. I interviewed Kevin,
yes.
and just fell in love with that band. Oh man!
So right now I'm sitting on my back porch and I'm wearing my Uncle Lucius beanie that I've had for 3 years now. Uncle Lucius is one of my favorite bands of all time, man. I love those guys.
I tried to get a shirt. I've been looking for a shirt for 6 months or so, but I can't find anywhere to get one.
They have some on their Twitter account.
On Twitter. Okay.
Yeah, if you look on Twitter, they think they have links to their merch store, and I've actually bought 2 of their shirts from the store, and they're great.
Awesome. Yeah, I was so disappointed when I heard they're getting done.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to get to Texas mainly just to see them.
So my relationship with those guys is pretty interesting because I became a fan of those guys back in like 2011 or 12 maybe,
Okay.
and really just became smitten with them because they weren't necessarily doing the Texas country thing, and I was really, man, I really just love what they do. And then I met Johnny Keys at Music Fest in Steamboat Springs a few years ago, and through Johnny just met the rest of the guys, and they've just become friends of ours. We've played a few shows together. We're trying to put together one of their farewell shows right now, so hopefully we can put that, put a co-bill together, or even I would even just straight up just say opening for them. I just love those guys so much. But Johnny's come and played with us for a few times. He actually played all of Music Fest with us.
Cool.
This last year, and Josh Greco, the drummer, he's actually played drums for me a few times, filled in when I needed a fill-in drummer.
Well,
so
like you guys, I mean, you can't really put that music in a box. It's not country, it's not folk, it's not blues,
weird.
it's something different.
Yeah, it's weird. A lot of people have been asking me about it lately, like what is it and where's it come from? They're trying to figure out how to categorize it, and I really don't know. I mean, I just play whatever comes out of my head. I don't I don't try to sound like anyone or anything, I just play whatever happens. I don't try to make it. I don't have any plans for it, if that makes sense.
It's such a classic, timeless sound that you have. Like all of your songs have already existed. Like you're making cover music, almost. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like, oh,
okay.
Who wrote this song? Oh, it was you.
Well, that's really funny because people have said that before about like Lonely Together Tonight.
Mm-hmm.
A woman came up to me and she said, "Who wrote that song?" And I said, "Oh, I wrote that song." She said, No. That's a really old song. I've heard that song before." And it really freaked me out for a while because I thought, did I just subconsciously just straight up rip somebody off? But other people have mentioned that before, that it sounds old. And I really, that doesn't bother me at all. I mean,
well, it's a slow blues song, and a slow blues song has to follow a format, and yours follows that format, so it's automatically going to sound like something else, but it's actually just pure blues.
Yeah, I guess it is. But like I said, even that, I mean, I'm not even trying to sound. That's just not even what I. Does that make sense? That's not my intention to sound even like pure blues. It's just when I wrote that song, I heard, because that song's pretty simple. It just starts with like I play it in A flat, so it just starts with like the one chord, and you just sing the first line over the one chord, and then you sing the next line over the two chord. It's a very simple walk up, and it's just I was never trying to sound like I don't know. People have been also saying blues to me a lot, and I've never once tried to be a blues artist. I just write songs and sing them.
Well, they sound amazing. I love all your music.
Thank you, man.
I've been addicted for the last few weeks anyway. I found Lonely Together Tonight, of course, first, and then just went down a rabbit hole of all of your music. I really enjoy all of it, honestly.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
And I like watching your, I forget which interview it was, but you've done a couple where you talk about the song a little bit and go in and play it live, just you.
Yeah.
And that That is amazing. You should do a lot more of that.
Okay.
Some
Well,
storyteller type of thing.
I do quite a few of those shows down here. That's what's interesting. In the course of a month, I'll play anywhere from a small theater to like a very real roadside just beer joint to, a very nice $20 per person listening room with only 70 seats in it. There's a wide range of venues and types of rooms you get to play in down here. And a lot of times I play solo, just myself and an electric guitar, and tell some stories, and it's a lot of fun to do those things.
So how does the band work into when you write music? Do you write the complete song and then just kind of pass it off to the band and let them figure it out? Or are they involved as much as you are in the writing process? On Dust Bowl Soul, there's a song called Amarillo Funk that I wrote with a couple members of one of my former bands. But for the most part, the songs are really just they're my songs, and I kind of just show them to the guys. Usually what I do is I make make a simple chord chart for the guys, and just let them. I play the song, and they usually just play along, and whatever they come up with is kind of the part for it. It's interesting though, changing out band members and adding and subtracting people. It's interesting that's the way I've always done it live, is allowed the player to play whatever part he would hear, within reason. Mm-hmm. I want to give them the creativity, but also just the freedom and the opportunity to just, do something cool, man. Just have fun, and don't feel like you have to play to, you don't have to copy the record exactly. And most of the time, man, the live thing for me is really, man, that's really where my heart is. I really love just playing music for people. We try to play 100 shows a year, and down here in Texas, you could do that, and play a couple shows every week, every single week. Play a couple shows, get face to face with fans, and sing your heart out for people, and play your ass off for people, and I know a lot of bands, they like to tour for a while and then take time off and write a new record and things like that. But I'm just writing all the time. I never stop writing, and I write mostly in my head, which I'm finding out my friends think is weird. Because I have a lot of friends who are songwriters, and I said, you don't write songs, you don't write like a whole song in your head and then just sit down and then chart it out? I'm like, no, we don't do that. I'm sure there's other people that do that, but that's what I do. I spend so much time driving, to and from these shows we're playing every week. Mm-hmm. A lot of times I'll write the whole thing in my brain, and then, when I get home or get stopped, I can maybe sing something into a voice memo or just type something up and email it to myself. But a lot of times that's how I've done it. The song Cruel from Dust Bowl Soul. I sang that song. I was standing in my garage, and I was clapping my hands and stomping my foot on the concrete floor. But I wasn't singing or anything. Just clapping my hands and stomping my foot, and that's how I wrote that song. Wrote the whole thing in just a few minutes, and then after that it was just, basically playing along with what I'd put together in my brain. It told me what chords to play. It told me where the words and the changes were, because it was, I just wrote it in my head. That's amazing.
So
Do you find it's easier in situations like driving or, say, mowing the lawn or taking a shower when your mind
yeah.
is kind of shut off? It's easier for it to just flow.
Sometimes, I mean, I think it's definitely something we don't give ourselves credit for, is that our mind really is always working. And if we can give it just enough preoccupation, sometimes it's interesting what happens. But I also believe in like focused writing time, where I do sit down with a guitar and I'm fond of those bright yellow legal pads and mechanical pencil. I have some focused time to do it. I think, yeah, getting out, doing something. I got 3 kids, I got 4 dogs, I got this amazing wife who works full time and takes care of everything while I'm gone. I mean, heck, she takes care of everything while I'm here. So, let's just be honest.
Well,
She's
she's a
incredible.
woman. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a woman. She's incredible. I'm pretty busy all the time. There's always something to do around this house. And I find things to do. I think it's good to keep yourself active and preoccupied, not just, driving out to bars at night to play some honky-tonk songs.
Well, I won't ask the standard who your inspirations are. I'm gonna kind of.
Well, you can ask whatever, man. That's a.
I'm gonna beat around the bush about that one.
Okay.
If you were to produce a tribute album, and you had to do the whole thing yourself and your band,
Okay.
who would you pay tribute to? If you had to pick one album to do nothing but cover songs of one person, what would you play?
Well, it would either be Bill Withers or Aretha Franklin.
Wow,
Yeah. One of those two.
that's a great answer.
Maybe Levon Helm.
That's an even better answer.
Maybe.
You have a Levon Helm sound to you, like the band, and you just a lot of your music does sound like the band.
That's one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me.
It's kind of that in between, that southern folk. You can't put your finger on it. Sound. That's what I thought the first time I heard your music. I'm like, oh, that sounds like the band.
Oh man, that's really, really cool to hear you say that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, what does it say on your sleeve?
Oh, it's an old hymn.
Okay.
It's a song I think it's from the 1830s. I think 18 something. It's called "On Christ the Solid Rock I Stand." It's one of the first songs I ever sang with my dad.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So it's like a tribute to him.
Yeah, that, and I like the words, I like the sentiment. But it's just it's definitely a tribute to him. I mean, he's still around. I mean, I'm gonna see my mom and dad probably this weekend. I think they're coming out to one of the shows, but yeah, I mean, he got me started singing, so. And like I said, I started singing when I was very young, 4 years old. So he kind of steered that in the right direction. He was a lot of help, and I didn't even realize it until a long time had passed. So
You never realize that till later.
no, you never do. You got to look back. You finally look back and go, oh man, those people practically carried my sorry butt.
Oh, what do you watch on Netflix?
Oh man, that's I used to watch a lot of Netflix. It's funny, the last couple years I have just really, I don't really watch TV much anymore. I read a lot of books, play a lot of guitar.
Hmm?
But I mean, I don't know, don't watch a whole lot of TV or anything like that.
It's not a horrible thing.
No, I mean, at the same time, the people all around me are talking about all these things, and I have no idea what they're talking about. When I watched Netflix, I watched documentaries nonstop. That was the thing. I think probably I stopped watching Netflix because I watched too much Netflix. But I just watched documentaries end on end, you know.
There's so many on there.
Yeah, and incredible just knowledge to be had out there. I really like real stories, you know, real people, real stories. So, of course, you know, like the Muscle Shoals documentary was incredible.
Oh yeah.
I just put that. I used to just put that on and let it play while I was doing other things around the house, you know. Just let it go while I was not even in the same room. But yeah, I love documentaries.
I'm a huge Beatles nut, so I put on Beatles documentaries all the time, and
Yeah,
like the whole of the anthology, and just it's all information I know already, but it's nice to drill it into your brain sometimes.
yeah. So my 10-year-old is a huge Beatles nut.
Awesome.
She's all my kids are musically inclined, but my 10-year-old, she's one of us. She's, you know, my bass player and I have looked at each other and thought, oh no, she's one of us. She's like a musician, like an actual musician, and she loves the Beatles, and she's trying to learn a bunch of Beatles songs right now on a few different instruments. So there's a lot of Beatles going on in my house.
That's great.
I just bought some old, very old Beatles vinyl. I know they made a lot of it, but just got some old Beatles vinyl for her. So
that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just had one or two more questions here for you.
Yeah, man.
I'll let
Go ahead.
Let you be. So, a dream festival. If you got to pick, you included, you know, you get to go play a festival. Why don't you name a few other bands or musicians that you would want there?
Well, Bill Withers and Aretha Franklin.
Right. Of course.
Let's see. Gosh. Alive or dead, doesn't matter.
Well, not really. It's hypothetical anyway, right?
All right. Well, I just didn't know how far out we're getting here.
I'm not setting this thing up. I mean, there's not going to be an actual festival, man.
Yeah, at the end of it, you're like, well, guess what? Yeah.
I'm not that connected. Come on.
Right. No, man, I really love a lot of old souls. So like Ray Charles, Otis Redding. You know, I listen to Al Green is my alarm every morning. So I hear Al Green every day. It's the first thing I hear every day is Al Green.
Awesome.
But at the same time, I really love a lot of the old country stuff. Like, I really love Hank Williams Sr. a lot. I like Willie Nelson quite a bit. I grew up on the Red-Headed Stranger record. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did he do the song with Ray Charles on that? Always on My Mind? No, that wasn't on that album. Never mind.
No, Red-Headed Stranger it had Blue Eyes Cry to the Rain was one of the big ones.
Red-Headed Stranger.
Red-Headed Stranger, obviously, yeah. But, man. So, yeah. Bunch of soul people, some country people. Levon Helm, obviously. I've recently, in the last 8 or 10 years or so, really got into Rory Gallagher.
Okay.
Familiar with him? Yeah. And it'd be awesome to have him. He's incredible. Man.
That'd be a good show.
That'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I could just go. I mean, how long does my list get to be?
As long as you want.
I should have already said it, but I get to play with him a lot. So, but a guy named Walt Wilkins. I don't know if you're familiar with Walt Wilkins.
I've heard the name. I'll have to look him up.
So Walt produced both my records. There's a studio in Austin, Texas called Jumping Dog Studio. The gentleman named Ron Flint, who owns, and he's an engineer there. But Walt and Ron co-produced my record. Now, my first record is basically Walt's band with me standing behind the mic. He basically just put all of his band power behind me for that first record. And he has like a super band. Everybody in his band could have their own band. They could front their own band. So, you know, he's got a large, big live band. It's awesome. But then my second record, you know, he produced that as well. So I'd love to have Walt. Walt throws down on a festival here in Texas in the spring at Fredericksburg. But Walt Wilkins, if you don't know him, you got to look him up, man.
I will.
He's incredible. Stand Up 7 from Dust Bowl Soul.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Walt Wilkins song from
okay.
his Diamonds in the Sun record. That's the last song on that record. But yeah, Walt Wilkins would definitely be in there. And I don't know, like I said, I could go on forever on this list.
Who is somebody out there new to look out for?
Somebody new out there to look out for.
Yeah, somebody that's going to be big. You have a feeling is going to be big.
Who's gonna? Man, I don't know.
You don't care, right? It's you.
Well, not so much that. I used to think I knew. I used to think that I knew what was good enough to be big. Is that a good way to explain that?
Right.
I used to think that I knew what that looked like, and now I don't know anymore. I mean, there's a lot of things that I thought should be huge, and they just didn't blow up. You know what I mean?
Well,
a lot of bands that like Uncle Lucius.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I thought they were going to be the new thing. Yeah. And then now they're done.
Uncle Lucius should be one of the biggest bands in the world, and they're not. So I don't know, man.
I think
your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame what dictates what gets played. That's why I chose you, you know, or reached out to you. I've been listening to your music a lot, and I just said, you know what, I need to get a hold of this guy. Maybe he'll give me a chance.
No, I love that, man. I'm so glad you've been listening to the music. I mean, we've got some stuff on YouTube recently, so got a lot of live videos that you can see on YouTube. Check those out.
I'm pretty sure I've seen everything you have on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do my research.
That's awesome. Oh, that's so great. That's really great to hear, man.
So what's in the future? What do you got going on next?
Man, right now we're, you know, like I said, we keep a really busy tour schedule, if you want to put it that way. So we play a lot of shows. In the meantime, I just write a lot. I'd really like to make a record this year, but you know, I'm an independent musician. Records are expensive.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. You know, for Dust Bowl Soul, we were really fortunate. We didn't need to do any type of Kickstarter or anything like that. We were able to just kind of stack up pennies and make the record work. And a lot of that was just Walt Wilkins being such an incredible person to work with that he helped make a lot of that happen. But I'd love to make another record this year. I got about a dozen songs already written for it, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Right now, we're just playing as many shows as we can play for as many people as we can play for.
Awesome, working hard.
Trying.
Well, hey man, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for the interview today.
No, thank you for having me.
Hey, if you see the guys from Uncle Lucius, you tell them, get back together. This is lame.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
And tell your daughter there's a brand new Beatles Netflix documentary on there. Go look it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell her.
It's really good.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll tell her.
All right. Thank you very much. Keep in touch. If you don't mind, I'll get a hold of you in maybe 6 months or a year or something, and maybe we can do this again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'd love to.
Awesome.
I'd love to.
Well, you have a good night.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
See you, Zach. Bye.